kind of find it interesting, Nobody's really talking about the destruction of black Canadian hip hop radio. And no one talking about it. But it feels cyclic. Cause this is how it felt when I was like in the MySpace. Sorry guys, I'm like here just morning meds, but it's not morning. It's literally like 1:30 in the evening, but my clock's always backwards. I'll be finishing sessions 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever. So I do not my time. I could be getting up right now and then going to bed right now. You know what I mean? Like I could be whatever. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. The point is, I just really taking in like they really thought that mans weren't gonna truly notice the destruction of black Canadian hip hop radio. It's like they said, you know what? We just need to build up a station so we can put on this Jewish kid and get the local black community to push him for the next 10 years so he can become the biggest hip hop thing ever, even though he's not from the States. But with the base of an entire radio station, an entire borough, an entire country behind the Mayotte, he's gonna become the biggest hip hop anything. Like no other hip hop man could ever compete because you're not just having Toronto, the fourth biggest city. You have Canada, right? But boom, Drake gets all his awards, 10 years running, biggest artist of all time, blah blah blahs, and then Flow 93.5 can't even keep itself going because you would think like, oh, it's like G98. I get it, like G98 is really trying to be roots and culture, it's really trying to hold on to the actual authentic Caribbean and black community here in Toronto and Canada. But Flow 93.5, we already know that's mainstream. They're playing all kind of American artists that that the local scene wouldn't even know. Like they'll bust a new artist. Jack Harlow would be playing off Flow, and the local mans aren't even playing off Flow, and no one knew who Jack Harlow was at that time. It was like dun, 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 dun. The beat was hard, but we didn't know who that white you was. But clearly, they're gonna position those random mans on Canadian hip hop before they even position the local mans on Canadian hip hop. We just have that one little segment um, made by Toronto or made in the six or whatever, made in Toronto, T Dot, whatever it was called. And it was trash. You know what I'm saying? Like every man waiting and hoping to get like 1 hour segment of Toronto music. So of course, that's that shows you, right? It has nothing to even do with how good the music is. It doesn't, because it's really great music, but it doesn't have a Jack Harlow budget to reach our ears correctly. It's not gonna be broken to us correctly. Like you didn't know who Jack Harlow was when you heard doom 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 doom. I don't even remember how that song went, but I'm just saying. I just remember that beat. It was slapping. I remember. I don't remember one bar from that song because it wasn't one of those kind of songs. It wasn't no catchy hooky song. It was like the man's rapping. Like they're like, yo, niggas, you guys gotta make catchy songs, but see this Jack Harlow guy? He just needs to spit hard bars. And we're gonna put the bag behind him and get him on Canadian radio. Like guys who live in Canada are gonna hear about Jack. You're not though. The energy of how this whole music industry resonates day to day just is so apparent. You know what I mean? It's just a regular day to me. But I mean, like when you see these major things happen, it's just so apparent. But let's get back to the death of Canadian black radio, hip hop radio. They thought, okay, cool. Like, we already did our job for Drake. He's the biggest guy ever. Who we're good. Like we've done our due. We can go to the Illuminati checklist and be like, like So now, as the regular city starting to build itself, no real guys are coming and bubbling on Flow, except for a couple guys, a couple guys like the Robin Banks and the whatever, or the basically all the mans who get co-signed from Drake. They'll get a 1-2 energy on Flow, I don't remember all the guys right now because for some reason my brain is forgetting simple things. Probably need to go have a spliff and then maybe do a part two to this video. But it's back to the point, because I haven't even got to the issue of why, like, analyzing this, the death of Black Canadian hip hop radio. So now Flow is gone, right? Like, what really happened is that G98, the owner at the time, God rest his soul, Fitzroy Gordon, passed away, right? He built that station. You got all the licensing, went through the stress, the years of jumping through loops and obstacles to get the CRTC or whatever to approve his station. And boom, he got the approval and called it G, because the man's last name is Gordon, right? G. So big up to all the people with a G at the beginning of their name, whether it's the first or last name, but whatever. And so he passed away, and we already knew it was gonna be a countdown, right? Like the station was already struggling while he was alive. Okay, they weren't really adhering to what would make a successful black radio station from all the successful black radio stations in America. There's a certain energy of how Canadians, how we do things, and this being a black Canadian radio station means it's gonna do things black, but in a Canadian way. And one thing you guys need to understand about Canada, the whole basis of Canadian culture is we're not the United States, and that's a fact. If you can go double check, you that's not me saying that. Oh, we're not United States. That's a fact. There was campaigns propagated to build. This is before we were born, before your parents even came to this damn country, from the settlers, from these like from when they're saying, you know what, we're no longer Britain, and we're actually not the U.S. either. It was around that time when they're trying to say, you know what, what are we? What does it mean to be Canadiana? What does it mean to be Canadian? It really means to not be like the United States. So majority of our culture here is just anti whatever they're doing there. So they're promoting guns. We're not promoting guns, but we're still gonna kill people with them. We're still gonna have our police use it. We're still gonna invest in war efforts and invest in anything that has to do with guns. But we're gonna tell you, like, we don't believe gun violence. Oh, that's an American thing. Oh, Americans, they love their guns, right? So that's what Canadiana culture is really about. So now let's get back to how that affects the death, the destruction of Black Canadian hip hop radio. G98 is there, not really trying to promote none of the actual hip hop records that are getting streams, that creates ad revenue, right? They're actually trying to build the station on a righteousness tip, if you really think about it. They're playing more roots, cultural music, Afro beat, reggae, soca, dancehall, whatever, and even not that much dancehall, because dancehall come with the gunman talks too. So the station was struggling, but it was building. It was building. There's a large like religious black population here in Toronto. So Sundays you could hear gospel music, right? So it was building. Like the community was supporting it, but it was not Flow 93.5. Where all even the youngest little white girls are there listening and screaming "Party Next Door" lyrics and Drake lyrics, and you know what I'm saying? Like you're not getting that energy on G98. But it was cool to know that we had Flow 93.5, or whatever type of black music, cultural music is gonna play. But you had G98, where cultural, valuable music. You know what I mean? If now, like I'm at this age now, if I wanna play music to educate my young kids, I don't have no kids, but I'm just speaking like that to educate my kids. We're going to check out grandma. We're going to go into the park. We're going to Woodbine Beach. So on the drive, I just want to have a positive, whatever. I'm just gonna crank some reggae that's playing off of G98. I don't know if I really want to play um, whatever Flow's gonna play, which is gonna be, anything that's hip hop, right? So it's dope. You can have a choice. It's like it wasn't just, yo, black people, here's your station. No, they're saying, yo, black people who are more conservative, here's your station. Black people who are more liberal, here's your station. And obviously we need more than that, right? They have a little college stations here and there, but that was what it was. So like I said, Gordon passed away. Stations already was going through issues. It was bought by another company, right? It was bought by another company. It was bought by a gentleman who wants to actually preserve the culture, black culture, and the continuation of what that station stands for, what it means, whatever, right? Nothing against the person who purchased it because the station would have just completely been gone, right? If a man didn't step up and buy it, the whole thing would have just been done. But it's just salty to me, right? Like this is Canada, progressive, understanding the story, the lineage, what happened to the world, right? Canadians are supposed to be educated. So I'm not saying you have to be physically educated on what happens to black people, but if you're generally educated, right? If you're an educated populace, an educated set of people, and you see the one, this is the fourth biggest city, right? Toronto. So it's kind of like on a levels. Like you kind of have to look up because it's the fourth biggest. So when you look on lists, it's top four, right? So to see that the only black run, black owned, black run, black cultural radio station is going out of service, going out of business. Subsidies, government, like some CRTC is supposed to step in and say, "Nah, we got to make sure to keep this black owned because this is fueling and developing the righteousness within the black community that's needed." The mainstream side, that's not gonna fuel no righteousness. That's just money, 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 and views. So I understand when G said we don't want to just play all the songs that are gonna get the advertisers to run to our page. We want to also educate our populace and be responsible for educating our populace, educating our community, and keeping our community on point. But lo and behold, what happens is the complete opposite. In the beginning, I was like, "This is gonna be horrible." People are like, give it a chance, G. This could be amazing. This could be great." And I'm like, "How? You're gonna have the channel, right? The channel. Let me get straight to the point. They took Flow and brought it to G, right? They didn't take the staff of Flow. They just took the brand Flow and brought it to G, and then dismantled Flow and in a sense forced everyone to come to G and say, "Hey, everyone, we know like sometimes you just want to play music for the sake of, to be a part, but we're gonna force you guys now to come to G and tap into the righteousness vibe, which clearly is gonna get compromised because it's not the original Fitzroy running G no more. It's this gentleman, whoever he is, I don't remember his name, and he's gonna have the pressure eventually to draw numbers. So G is gonna be forced. The employee, the staff are gonna be slowly more so forced to have to start living up to a Flow business model, which is about numbers and competing with the internet, right? Because Flow is competing with the internet. That's why Flow, it was easy to dash away Flow because it's like you're not getting more numbers than Spotify. What's the point? Artists and whatever ad revenue, let's just tap into that. Let's just create a internet marketing company with this Flow, with all this Flow energy. But instead, like I said, they sold the name to G. So now G98 is Flow 98 with the G staff and Flow staff Dashway. It's not fair. It doesn't make no sense, right? In the line of righteousness, it would if we're actually in that paradigm. Like if the paradigm had shifted and we're on a righteousness movement, then I could understand that. Like, yo, G, you guys been holding on righteousness. Uno get the crown. Uno stand up on your thing. Yeah, 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 yeah. Flow. Uno madman them. Da, da, da. You know what I mean? Because they were on unrighteousness. These guys were on righteousness. But come on, let's be frank, bro. Let's be real. Let's keep it 100. No one's tuning into to Flow 97, 8. No one even knows what that means. It's a quef. I don't know. Am I tuning in to listen to Drake like I used to on Flow? Because on Flow, I knew I was going to hear Drake every 5 minutes. But on G, I knew I was gonna listen to reggae, all kinds of cultural vibes. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even know what I'm tapping in for. It's a quef. And then I just seen a promotion saying, "Get ready, oh, Sugar Daddies," which was already the wrong venue because that's a G98 vibe, right? But you have the flow branding in my face. Event tonight at Sugar Daddies, old versus new hip hop. I'm like, oh, the complete quef has come full circle, right? Because Flow 93 is the young crowd and G98 is technically the old crowd. It's always the older crowd looking down at the young crowd saying, you guys are moving unrighteous. So that's why it was easy for me to separate and say, G98 making more of a righteous platform. And but come on, bro, it's all ad revenue. Like they both play trash music and great music. So I can't decipher off of that energy. And both stations have shown me love at different points in time in my life. At the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about the fact that you guys are gonna try and bring the entire black demographic, young and old, on one station. Where we're not even together in real life. The black demographic is not together in real life. Young and old don't chill and listen to the same music and whatever the case may be. So why are we gonna try and force it corporately? We need to force it in the home first. We need to force it by creating moments in the home where the old and young communicate and enjoy and vibe. Caravana has been mashup. That would be maybe one of the main spaces where young and old would come together. But the old say, look at how the kids dance, look at the music that the kids play. The music has changed. That's what they say in Jamaica, right? And we are an expansion of the Jamaican diaspora. Half of black culture in Canada is Jamaican culture. And they just like to say Caribbean culture so they don't offend the other islands. But at the end of the day, if I know for a fact that the generations are split and they're gonna try and force us all onto one station, that station's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's just gonna be the few beggars who need to listen to black music while they drive to work or wherever are gonna use the station. But it's not gonna be a thing like I'm chilling at home and I go on my phone and literally go online to listen to it. There would be times I would literally go on my phone and listen online to G or to Flow or to Jazz FM because if I want something specific, I'm gonna go to your station for it. But now G98 is gonna play the gamut of all black music, young versus old, and they're promoting a party at Sugar Daddy's Young versus Old. Look, that's great for mans my age, specifically like mid 30s, right? That's always young versus old is always good for those people. But the really old people ain't coming, and the really young people ain't coming. So if that's the point, okay, great. G98 now is for my age. Great, I'll listen to it, but my little brother's not gonna listen to it. My parents are not gonna listen to it. Simple. My parents used to listen to it. My brother used to listen to Flow. Now they have nothing and they combined it and saying this is gonna be for everyone. No, 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 no. So that's what I've been seeing. Like I've been feeling this energy from